How do some people go from nothing to building a $10 million fortune, while others spend their whole lives struggling to survive? The answer isn't in magic formulas, but in behavioral patterns that repeat themselves. In this video, you'll discover what truly separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. These are real lessons drawn from those who have done it, not just talked about it. Here, we won't romanticize success or sell shortcuts. We'll analyze the path of ordinary people who achieved extraordinary results with vision, discipline, and consistency. These are stories based on data, interviews, and direct observations. And perhaps the most important part, you can apply these principles even if you don't have money today. The secret isn't how much you work, it's how well you understand the game. Welcome to Army Capital. I'm Dominus. Here, you'll uncover the hidden strategies, the untold truths, and the mindset that leads to true financial independence. Behind this voice is a group of strategic minds, people who played the game, lost, won, and now share the real moves. Most people are trapped in an invisible cycle. They work to pay bills, accumulate debt, and believe that becoming rich is out of reach. They weren't taught to think like investors, to plan long-term, or to treat money as a tool for freedom. Meanwhile, those who reached $10 million understood early that the financial game isn't about blind effort, but about strategic decisions and consistent habits. In this video, we're going to dive into 6 pillars that appear, almost without exception, in the journey of those who built real wealth. We'll talk about smart leverage, long-term mindset, multiple income streams, personal reinvestment, extreme discipline, and consistent investing. These are simple yet powerful concepts, and when applied with intention, they can change anyone's financial destiny. If there's a turning point between those who truly get rich and those who simply work more, that turning point is called leverage. In the world of finance, leveraging means using external resources, time, money, skills, or technology to exponentially increase your results. And this is what sets apart those who accumulate wealth from those who merely survive financially. Those who made $10 million from scratch didn't do it all alone. They found ways to multiply their efforts. Many people think of leverage only as debt or credit, but millionaires see beyond that. They leverage people by delegating tasks, systems by automating processes, ideas by licensing or scaling products. And of course, other people's capital, investors, smart financing, partnerships. They're not stuck in the mindset of, I have to do everything. On the contrary, they know that growth requires collaboration and strategic vision. Think of the example of a startup in the United States that began with 2 founders in a small apartment. Instead of waiting to accumulate capital to grow, they brought in angel investors, delegated product development, and focused their efforts on business partnerships. In 2 years, they were valued in the tens of millions. That's leverage, using the little you have to access what you don't have yet. The middle class trap is believing that the only way to make more money is to work more hours. Meanwhile, those who understand leverage are earning more, doing less with their own hands, and creating structures that work even while they sleep. Leverage is about leaving the brute force game and entering the intelligence game. But be careful, leverage without control is risky. It's not about taking on irresponsible debt or relying on luck. Millionaires study numbers, evaluate scenarios, and test on a small scale before scaling up. They understand that leverage requires preparation, vision, and a lot of responsibility. It's not an impulsive move, it's a conscious construction. Have you ever asked yourself how many of your daily tasks could be delegated, automated, or done by a system? Have you considered that maybe the biggest obstacle between you and growth is trying to control everything on your own? That's one of the main mindset differences between those who stay stagnant and those who thrive. Millionaires build machines, the rest build routines. And the truth is, leverage doesn't require millions to get started. It can begin with a virtual assistant, an investment in technology, a strategic partnership. What matters is the principle. Getting out of linear thinking and into exponential thinking. Because in the money game, those who scale win. One of the biggest differences between those who accumulate wealth and those who live on autopilot lies in how they view their role in the financial game. Millionaires don't behave like employees of their own lives. They act like owners. And this has nothing to do with owning a company. It's about taking full responsibility for results, decisions, and most importantly, the future. Those who made $10 million from scratch didn't make decisions based solely on the end of the month. They thought 5, 10, sometimes 20 years ahead. This mindset changes everything. While most people spend a day and hope something is left tomorrow, the millionaire thinks about planning today to reap for decades. It's not magical thinking. It's a daily construction, grounded in choices that accumulate value over time. Have you noticed how easy it is to make impulsive decisions when you're stuck in the present? Choosing spending over investing. Avoiding learning because there's no immediate return. These small choices, repeated over years, build the opposite of wealth. The owner's mindset understands that true returns are not fast, they're consistent. And that's exactly what sets them apart. Many of those who reach $10 million started by investing small amounts, but with a clear purpose. They consistently put money into a Roth IRA. They avoided bad debt, prioritized assets, and resisted the pressure of showy consumption. It wasn't because they were rich. It was because they already thought like the rich. And when thinking changes, behavior follows. Moreover, this long-term vision goes beyond money. They invest in reputation, in relationships, in continuous learning. They understand that the most valuable asset is time, and that wasting on distractions, fights, or addictions is more costly than any financial mistake. When you think like an owner, every choice carries weight, and that creates a rare sense of direction. It's interesting how many people wait to have money before they start acting seriously. But the process is the opposite. First, you act like someone responsible for millions. And over time, that behavior attracts millions, not through magic, but because you start operating at a level that money respects. After all, who would trust capital to someone who can't even take care of what they already have? This is a shift that doesn't require permission. At any moment, you can choose to stop blaming the system, the government, your parents, or the past. You can adopt the posture of being the owner of your financial journey. And it costs nothing. It only takes courage. Courage to see the future as something built today, even in silence. Being dependent on a single source of income is like building a house on a single pillar. What if it falls? Most people live like this, hoping their salary will solve everything, while carrying debt, commitments, and dreams too big for one income stream. But millionaires think differently. From early on, even with little, they're already building multiple pillars. This strategy isn't just about earning more. It's about earning in different ways. Active income, passive income, dividends, royalties, rentals, startup investments, side hustles. The American who reached $10 million usually started by diversifying what they had and expanded over time. The goal was never to depend on a boss or a single product. It was to create autonomy. It's worth noting that this structure is rarely built quickly. One of the most common mistakes for beginners is wanting multiple income streams right away. But the rich do it differently. They build one that generates cash, and then reinvest the surplus into another source. It's a layered growth cycle, and this requires strategic patience. Consider the example of someone who starts with a traditional job and decides to use part of their salary to buy stocks in solid companies like Apple or Microsoft through a dividend plan. Over time, this person builds a small digital business to complement their income. Later, they invest part of the profits in a rental property. This trajectory is common among millionaires who built wealth organically. The most curious part? You don't need to earn a lot to start this process. What matters is understanding the principle. Relying on one source is fragile. Having multiple means security and, over time, freedom. How many times have you thought, if I lose this job, I don't know what I'd do? That question reveals how income diversification is still overlooked by those who need it most. Another key point, passive income doesn't mean income without work. It requires initial effort, knowledge, and maintenance. But unlike active income, it's not limited by the number of hours in a day. a YouTube video, an ebook, an automated platform. All are examples of assets that generate continuous return. Millionaires understand this. They work today on things that will keep paying tomorrow. And that's exactly the silent secret few talk about. When the first income source covers expenses, the second becomes investment, the third buys time, the fourth builds freedom. And so, little by little, without fanfare, a wealth structure is formed, solid, resilient, and independent. Let's be honest. When the first significant amount of money comes in, most people think about spending. Maybe a trip, a new car, some comfort that feels deserved. But those who truly understand the game, those who reach $10 million starting from nothing, don't see profit as a finish line. They see it as a starting point. And the first place they put that profit is into themselves. Yes, we're talking about personal reinvestment. A simple concept in theory, but revolutionary in practice. Courses, mentorships, books, events, conversations with people better than you. The average millionaire I've interviewed in recent years didn't get rich from one brilliant business. They got rich because they never stopped improving. Their mind became their most valuable asset, and they treated it like $1 billion fund. It may sound like an exaggeration, but think with me. How many ideas have you failed to execute because of lack of clarity, knowledge, or confidence? How many opportunities pass you by unnoticed because you weren't prepared? What separates the amateur from professional, the stagnant from the millionaire, is the ability to grow internally before growing externally. And it's not just about technical content. The most successful people I know also invest heavily in emotional intelligence, time management, mental resilience. They know it's no use earning more if they can't handle pressure, criticism, or failure, because the road to $10 million isn't clean. It's full of setbacks. And only those who strengthen themselves internally keep moving forward. Now tell me, when was the last time you invested time and money just to become a better version of yourself? And don't say, oh, I watch a few videos here and there. I'm talking about real commitment to your own growth. Because millionaires treat this as an obligation, not a luxury. They know the right mindset opens doors that money alone never could. Here's another important point. Health. It seems obvious, but it's neglected by many. Truly wealthy people take care of their bodies, sleep, and diet, not out of vanity, but for performance. Because if the mind is the engine, the body is the structure. And without structure, everything collapses. There's no financial freedom without the physical energy to enjoy it. At the end of the day, personal reinvestment is what sustains everything. It doesn't matter how much you earn. If your mindset is limited, your results will be too. But when you grow on the inside, intellectually, emotionally, physically, the outside world starts to align. And that's when the real breakthrough happens. This is the part where many stop listening. Discipline. The word sounds heavy, tiring, almost unfriendly. But guess what? Those who reach $10 million from scratch didn't do it through impulsiveness, luck, or fleeting motivation. They did it with relentless discipline. Not the kind of discipline that shows up in social media posts, but the silent kind, the kind that repeats when no one is watching. They knew exactly where their money was going. Every dollar had a purpose. Nothing was left over to spend carelessly. And that doesn't mean living a miserable life. It means living with clarity. While many buy to distract themselves, the discipline buy to build. They maintain a budget, control cash flow, use tools, set monthly goals. And they don't stray from those goals out of impulse. Have you noticed how easy it is to justify an unnecessary expense? It's just a day, I deserve it. It's cheap. These phrases, repeated over the years, destroy any financial plan. Millionaires don't fall for this kind of thinking. They've developed self-control that seems difficult at first, but becomes a habit over time. And that habit turns into freedom. In the United States, where access to credit is easy, reckless spending is almost cultural. Maxed out credit cards, endless installments, lifestyles above one's income. Those who overcame this system were the ones who learned to resist the culture of now, because the now passes, but the bill stays. And that awareness is what separates the average consumer from the wealth builder. This discipline is also reflected in long-term choices. Those who accumulate millions don't upgrade their lifestyle with every raise. They maintain their standard of living until their wealth is truly solid. They keep driving the same car, living in the same house, even when they can already show off. Why? Because they know real wealth is built in silence and destroyed by excess. And it's not about being rigid or living in fear. It's about respect for your own money. Every cent has a role in a bigger plan. That's why the rich act with patience. They don't want to look rich. They want to be rich. And to do that, they're willing to give up immediate pleasures in exchange for a freedom that few will ever reach. It may sound harsh, but the truth is simple. The freedom you want depends on the discipline you avoid. If you control your money today, tomorrow it will work for you. But if you don't, you'll spend your whole life working for it. And that's a trade-off millionaires refuse to make. If there's one common denominator among everyone who reached $10 million from scratch, it's this. They started investing before they felt ready. They didn't wait to have a lot of money. They didn't wait to understand everything. They simply started and kept the habit with almost religious discipline. Because investing is an event. It's a process. The average American investor who achieved financial freedom rarely timed the market peak or predicted major crashes. What they did was simple: regular contributions into solid assets for years. Index funds like the S&P 500, shares in companies with consistent fundamentals, well-located real estate, and for some, high-potential alternative assets. No trends, just consistency. Have you ever wondered why so many smart people stay poor? It's often not due to a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of consistency. The anxiety to get rich quickly destroys more fortunes than any crisis. The patient wealthy know that time is the greatest ally of the investor. They let compound interest do the work, while the impatient jump from opportunity to opportunity. Another important point: they treat investing as an obligation, not an option. Just like they pay their utility bills or rent, they pay themselves first, every month, without fail, before spending, before planning anything else. And it's this habit that transforms an ordinary salary into extraordinary wealth over the years. And don't think this only works with large amounts. The magic of investing lies in time, not the initial value. A Roth IRA with monthly deposits of just $300, maintained over 20 years, can easily surpass six figures. Now imagine that combined with multiple income streams and reinvested profits. It's not luck, it's math. The difference lies in how you view each dollar. Is it just a piece of paper, or is it a seed? Millionaires think of every cent as an opportunity to plant something that will bear fruit for years. This mindset, repeated thousands of times, is what builds a financial future so many dream of, but few actually create. And here's the final point. Consistent investing is not about getting rich quickly. It's about ensuring you won't depend on anyone in the future. It's about building freedom, autonomy, and dignity. Those who understood this early reaped early. Those who understand it now still have time. But those who keep postponing will be paying the price of inaction at the hardest moment of their lives. Everything you've heard up to this point isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Those who made $10 million from nothing weren't the smartest or the luckiest, but they were, without a doubt, the most consistent. They chose to act while they still had doubts. They chose to save when it still felt like too little. They chose to invest even without guarantees. And those small decisions, repeated day after day, changed their destiny. Now, the question that remains is, what will you do with this knowledge? Because the difference between watching content and transforming your reality lies in one choice: the choice to get out of autopilot and take control of your financial life. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you start. And more importantly, that you keep going. You don't need to have $10 million to start acting like someone who will get there. All you need is a decision, a plan, and the courage to keep moving forward, even when no one's watching. The stories of those who built fortunes from nothing aren't about perfection. They're about responsibility, vision, and consistency. And those three things are indeed within your reach. If this content made sense to you, if it challenged your thinking or reignited something that was asleep inside you, this is the moment to act. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we'll keep building the mindset, the habits, and the investments that transform lives, one choice at a time. Now, not because someone gave it to you, but because you came looking for it. If you stay on this path, you'll stop chasing money and start making it chase you. This was another report from Army Capital. I'm Dominus, and I'm watching you.